Welcome back to Our Bowl of Light. I'm here sitting with the beautiful Tuli in Bali at Tirtananda Fasting Center. And this podcast has been reserved for conversations that I really just feel need to happen with special people that are bringing transformational, very pure transmissions into the world. And Tuli is one of those people that I've been able to meet here in Bali. She's come so highly recommended as I was seeking out water fasting. And over the years, I've felt really called to water and detox and fasting as a spiritual path. And a lot of people think that fasting is just for the health benefits, but for me, it's been a really direct way to reconnect to the inside and direct connection to source and source energy. And so I'm sitting here with her today to ask her some questions about how this center emerged and her personal experience with fasting. So I'd love if you could maybe introduce yourself and share a little bit about how you got into all of this.
Thank you. It is an incredible story to surrender to the flow of life and really let go or face your small parts that we carry as well. And I never planned to do any of this that we are here experiencing every day. It's about 9 years since people have been coming here, I would say ongoingly, to sit with these waters. We are inside here in this waterfall valley where we have also a spring, a source intelligence with us that we come and sit for a moment. And I've been here in this jungle for 11 years and I was guided here. I was, in all honesty, divinely guided here. I went personally through a death experience. It's a long story short, I was physically dying. I was in my deathbed, and it came on to that note that I made a peace with what is to come. God gave me a vision that my death was granted and I was ready to go. And eventually what happened is that the Spirit guided me personally to embark something that I haven't had any awareness before. And that was a fast. And it ended up being a 40-day water fast. That was my introduction. That was my introduction to the world of fasting.
Wow.
But in some sense, the fast word can be interpreted or felt in different way. In some sense, I wasn't fasting about from anything, because it was a time of being really fulfilled with life, and it felt that I wasn't lacking or needing the things that I used to do in our everyday life, like we eat and do our daily deeds. So that was a journey where the waters truly brought me back to life. And during that period, I was guided to here. That whole period is something to write a book about in someday. I haven't got that far. But one of the visions that I was given was where I was placed onto a mountain. And a few days later, I got a phone call from a friend that guided me here. So here we are.
Here we are, and I find it so incredible that you've been here for 11 years. You're married to a Balinese man, and this whole center is so interwoven with the community, supporting and supported by the local community. And I've heard so many things. I've been actually surprised as I've shared a little bit more about my experience here. I'm on day 5 of a 7-day water fast right now. How many people I know have come to sit with you, and I feel so blessed and so grateful to be in this space with you and to be sitting with someone that's done a 40-dayer. I mean, legend in my books, and the way in which you bring this transmission through and hold people in the really delicate spaces that this can bring up, because the last couple of days for me were incredibly incredibly difficult. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to continue. Yeah, so I'm curious if you want to share a little bit about what you see fasting does for the majority of people that come here. I know it's probably wide and diverse why people come and what they receive out of it, but what do you feel like people leave here with?
You mentioned in the beginning that you are more interested about the what is really within, not necessarily about the health
I mean, that's amazing
benefits.
too, for sure, but I feel the call spiritually.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm interested and curious as well. We can technically find already a plenty of study of fasting. You can find that and study for yourself, and the study is going forward. There's really incredible things that are starting to be shown what is happening within us as we recite from the food and interact with the pure water only. Some people might consider fasting if you still take some supplements or even coffee or juices or things, but that's a different than being with the pure water only when your body's intelligence takes over. And there are truly people that do the fast because of the technical health benefits. But really I take those as a bonus, because those are happening because something within us is aligning more. And in some ways, I say many times that technically we can heal from something, but if we haven't done the work, why we manifested dis-ease or discomfort or a pain, because those are our teachers really, we will manifest them back in the same way or another. So the water fast, that's my curiosity, and that's what enlightens me every day to sit in our circle, in our morning circle, to witness the transformation that happens when we are just ignited into more of life within us, and that brings the healing about, because when we are the life that we are, no death can pierce that eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had that realization in this fast for me personally. I've loved fasting over the years because it just, when you take everything out of your life and just remove what you're putting in, the system knows how to restore balance and bring you back into alignment. And I came here really to Bali to heal from some experiences in my life this past year that I noticed over time were starting to erode at my trust. I could feel it in my field with the divine, my trust in life. And I finally hit that moment this morning where I feel like, because I removed food and was simply communing with water from the source. Spring, we have access to this amazing spring water here, which is such a gift. I started to feel this trust of developing happiness and joy and surrender again to the divine within me and all around me at all times. And that's such a gift that I'm taking away from this experience. Did you have something to share on that?
Yes. So I bring this into now onto religion. If you look at all the religions and have a little study of ancient cultures, you can find their own way of practice of fast. Fast has always been part of human life. And this is something that we simply should bring back, not being afraid of not eating, but finding your own way to recite from the food and reconnect to who you truly are. Because God lives within us, the life, we are the life. And it is said that when you turn 21 years old, there's a 3 times 7 cycles, then you should be doing a yearly fast. And that I feel in my heart that is just a mandatory thing that should be practiced in all communities. Societies might not be recognizing that, but we should definitely bring that back with our own example so that our children can learn from that. Whatever the practice is, you can have a look at different religions and see what you resonate with, or just find your own unique way of it. But finding the reference point, we are not beings that we should be always consuming and running for something. If you have lost your purpose and meaning 100%, stop what you're doing, take a break and pause and connect, because what you are here to be or do is within you, so that you can really 100% feel it in all of your cells, and then nourish and feed that afterwards when that spark of enlightenment of your purpose have risen. So fasting is such an incredible practice, doing it right and purposefully. It's such a tool that we have, and it's in the end of the day, I say always that the best things are free, and this is basically free. Anybody can fast.
I was blown away at how affordable you've even made this experience too. It's like, I mean, so inspiring for me to, I've come from a retreat industry background, and just to see how truly in service this whole center is and interwoven with the community. And, there's a lot of stuff happening in Bali, and what you guys are doing here is so pure and just entirely in service, and I feel so grateful to see you and know you. Yeah, truly. Yeah, it's really, really moving to be here and fasting and with the simplicity of these waters and held with your presence. And I have a couple more questions for you. Mentioned the 40-day fast, and for people that are listening and think, how is that possible? And I for me it breaks my limitations on what I find would be possible for myself. But how did you go through that? What were the waves for you? And how did you come out of it?
Yes, I did 40-day water fast, and I do not recommend it to anyone. That's why we keep our limit for people who come here. The maximum that we can support people is 21 days. Because after that, it is so much more between you and the spirit, from the perspective that I look at it. So I was guided and held, nourished by spirit. So there was no question that I could have not done it, because I was so fulfilled and nourished with the Holy Spirit. Spirit is everywhere, and on that moment, because it was my purpose to do it, I was with spirit, and it was the most incredible journey that I've ever done in this lifetime. Wow. And I'm so grateful for it. And eventually something very fascinating happened. Like I said previously, there would be a whole book about that experience, but we're not there yet. But in the end of it, I had a choice. I actually gathered all of my energy. I was in complete awareness, because when you go that in a daily life, you have your daily rhythm of what you do on the daytime, and then you sleep on the nighttime. But a long time, in the end of it, I was kind of lifted to a very different realm, where the body doesn't really need to sleep. I was in a different and altered state of awareness, and experiencing very interesting things. And in the end of it, I gathered my awareness, and I rised up in this soul star from my body. Wow. And at the same time, my awareness was some forth on the other side, and still witnessing myself and my body. And then I knew on that note that if I would leave now, I would still come back, and I have a mission to complete. That was wherever that came from.
You're definitely
that can be questioned, and I came to my body with that star of awareness, and started to have some honey. So I came out literally just starting to have some honey. Honey is such a nectar, and on that note, from the awareness place where I was, you cannot even imagine of going back to eating on how we'd normally eat on a daily basis. So started with honey and flowers and so forth. But it took me really the things that I was shown and experienced. It took me, I would say, 2 years to actually be able to have a proper conversation with another fellow human being.
Wow.
So there was a lot to incorporate on that one. Incredible. And yeah, it's a beautiful journey. I never planned that we are sitting here afterwards, that because I just trusted God. God has just, I went through a death in my own way, and God had given me a new life, and then literally the people started to show up. They just started to come here. So we didn't make up this. We just
Mm-hmm.
showing back
Yeah.
to life.
It's so interesting how that works, and I've noticed it work in my own experiences with
Yes.
fasting and getting empty, because I've run an energy healing practice for 10 years, and I've done very little, if at all, marketing whatsoever for it. It's been entirely word of mouth, and every time I lose that sense of purpose or alignment, I just stop
Yeah.
and get empty. And that happened for me. I've been in a hiatus for the last couple months, and it happened yesterday where I started noticing the inpour of inquiries, because people can just feel when you're empty and clear again. And I wish more people knew that about fasting, that if we just stop and get still, our divine purpose and service in the world will just reopen like this funnel. And it's so effortless from there. It's so simple.
It's literally so simple, and I think it's the really ultimate test that we all are facing. And if somebody's listening this who feels that they are in that kind of a bad of being initiated with life, it requires that real trust and surrender that yes, I'm gonna trust for something bigger than I am, because we are not supposed to be doing things alone and doing things just outside of ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it really breaks that pattern. You were talking this morning about how we're given this narrative that we need food to eat or to survive, and how that suppresses and depresses us. Do you remember what you were sharing about that this
Yeah, I
morning?
was sharing that one of the gifts that fasting, when you fast in the way that you feel that you are rising, you're not in deprivation, that you really are in that connection. And one of the gifts that it does automatically, I feel it got scored from very unconscious belief that we have taken a bonus on the society perhaps that we've grown into, is that if you don't eat, you die. And here we are, proven. You've just on a day 5 and you haven't died. Oh, completely opposite.
I thought I was going to for a couple of days.
Yeah,
But
completely
I'm fine now. I
opposite.
actually feel so high.
So from that perspective, if whatever belief, if we look at how we function in our belief system, if whatever your belief is that suppresses you, that you need this or you're not gonna basically be alive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big burden. And when we got that cord, we can rise up and perceive nourishment and eating afterwards from a different perspective. We were speaking about that if you are on your table in there, not that you perceive the food that I need this or otherwise I'm not gonna make it the rest of my day, whatever I'm supposed to do. Rather acknowledging that gift that you have there for you, all the energy and creation that has poured into what you just have in there is incredible. And taking it as a celebration that you get to nourish what is pouring from through you, your passion, your purpose, and you get to nourish it with this incredible creation that Mother Earth has made for you. There's a different perspective of approaching when you can actually feel that on a cellular level. You said it well in the morning, you're not surviving.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Yeah, we can get so wormholed and tunnel vision in the matrix. I noticed that it is part of being human that we can just get so focused on this idea that we are sustained by food, by money, by whatever it is that we're consuming, our cell phones. And this pause gives us the opportunity to remember that we are sustained by something greater, bigger, internal.
Mm-mm.
And really remember the divinity that's moving us. And when that becomes our center focus, this simplification of being a human, a divine being in this 3D world, for me is so precious. And I think why I feel so called to fasting as a path.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I love your passion towards the past, and it feels so pure as well. 100%. And then what comes along, we can take as a nourishment, and really throughout this life have that perception that when we leave, we don't take nothing with us except the lessons that we've learned in our soul. I think I feel or I perceive that there's so much of consumption still going on in the world that I wish that all of our sisters and brothers who are in this conscious path, I wish us all remain in a great practice so that we can really remember that we don't get too attached onto those outer things, just taking the lessons, staying free.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to eat food after this now.
For sure.
But from a different place. And I wanted to share how, being raised a woman in the United States, there's so much food culture and diet culture and the way that we, oh, little puppy, the way that we think about food. And I know for me personally, the energy with which I've had to think about food throughout my life has been at times fear, even just learning about pesticides and how everything is cultivated in the United States. And then when it comes to body weight and body image, and there's just so much energetic underneath how and why I eat, to the point where it's actually been hard for me to even enjoy eating. And this experience has renewed my celebration around eating, where I get to see it as this amazing opportunity to choose consciously what I put into my body, not from a place of I need this to survive or I need to get enough macros or micros or proteins or whatever, but as this just celebratory, beautiful experience that I can now choose, but knowing that I'm fed by something deeper.
Beautiful, beautiful. And one thing about the fasting that it's lovely to leave behind the ear is that after the fast, we are in so much in our senses that your body also guides you what you actually need. And when you lose that, when you start to go more into your mind of what do I need to eat and then it's a time once again to take a pause, so you come back to your senses and your body guides you. Not that you always need to do a longer fast, and there's a saying that I use a lot, never underestimate the power of 24 hours with water. So just come back to the senses and allow your body to guide what is right for you.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to share for those who are considering this path and wanting to come out here potentially to Bali to do it, and what makes this space unique and different?
Well, if you haven't fasted before, from my heart, I am happy to welcome people to have that first initial experience in here, so that you can cultivate a beautiful and safe relationship with the fast and take upon that practice as hopefully for the rest of your life as well. Fasting is like taking a tattoo. It's not always so pleasant with the process, but after it feels so good, and then you kind of like forget how the process was, and then you want to do another one. No, a yearly practice is a good to be in our lifestyle habits, and whether it is here where you find your way or somewhere else, I hope that this topic stirs up something hopefully positively within you, and you take a bone and mark your calendar some days like, hey, I'm gonna experience and see what this does for me.
And I'm so glad that I did my first 7-day here, and also to be drinking straight from these spring waters. It's been such a gift, and to be right below this amazing waterfall, and to have the support of the colonics and the massages and the Balinese healers that come through. You've really put together such a team of true support here that I feel so grateful, because honestly, I got to such a vulnerable place day 4 that I really needed that support to kind of push through to today, which I'm in a totally different place now. So being held through deepening in the fasting process is something that I find so valuable, and so grateful that you're here. Yeah.
Absolutely. I always say that I don't know anything else that what I'm supposed to do, so we are here.
You're doing a wonderful job.
We are here for that.
It's such a pure transmission, and the passion and the love behind it. And I've definitely committed over the last few years. I do fast regularly, and I will see about how I can incorporate a 7 day. Maybe I'll just have to come back in the future because yeah, I imagine, does it get easier over time the more you do fasting?
Of course,
Yeah.
and you kind of like get onto the habit of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very fluent.
Mm-hmm.
We just actualize that this is part of life. It's what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
just
because
get
I had
onto
done
it.
so many detoxes, like 13-day detoxes, and those got easier over time. And so I thought water fasting would be easy as well, but it's a whole different ball game.
It's a different ball game, and obviously, when you do a fast, it will be always different. It's
Mm-hmm.
always due to what have you been exposed to just prior the fast as well, because you go through a surface level of detox and then underneath that as well. So always a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. The last thing that I wanted to touch on about fasting as a spiritual path was how profound it is to me that when we come together to do this, that water becomes the divine in a way. It's the only thing we're intaking.
Yes, yes, yes.
And in a world of gurus and just all sorts of lineages that, are intermediaries to the divine, just coming together in this human sense and making water the divine, for me, oh my goodness, has been so healing coming from a religious background where the most pure source of, what makes up most of our bodies and connects us all as humanity, that becomes the ultimate teacher. And it's like, what else,
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. I love that we are kind of a water centered. I celebrate when there are kindred souls who also love the water so much that
So much.
we can celebrate it.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much for taking this time, Tuli, and for
Thank you,
having
thank
me
you,
here. Yeah, so
thank
deeply
you.
appreciate you. Mm. And you can reach out to her at where can people contact you?
Well, at the moment, our only social media is through the Instagram,
Okay.
and obviously we have a website, so
So
they
I will
probably
tag her
linked somewhere there.
on my Instagram. I think I already have, and we'll post her website in the notes. Thank you.